All right, friends, right now I'm in front of the Lake Elmo Inn, literally a restaurant established in 1881. It is beautiful, really great food, really great brunch, like a Mother's Day brunch or an Easter brunch. Hard to beat. Generally, just in this sort of small downtown strip of Lake Elmo. That's because today's video is a virtual tour of Lake Elmo, Minnesota. Excited to show you around. You don't know what you're missing yet. How's it going, friends? My name is Jesse Lynch. I run the hardest working real estate team in the game. We're called the Twin Cities, but this YouTube channel is all about helping you find a place to call home, whether you're moving here from out of state or just buying a house here for the first time. So if either of those two things appeal to you, do us both a favor, subscribe to the channel, click that little bell to get notified, give the video a thumbs up, and say what's up in the comments. Right now I'm at the Lake Elmo Airport. There's a plane taking off over there, and I'm gonna go pick up Alex, and we are gonna show you just what Lake Elmo is all about. It's a great spot. Lake Elmo is kind of a sleeper. Not a lot of people are asking for it, but that's because you don't necessarily know what you don't know. All right, y'all, right now we are at the Lake Elmo fishing pier, and this whole thing, this Lake Elmo, this is Lake Elmo Regional Park, something like that. But this is what it's all about, to live here in the Lake Elmo city. Obviously it's named after the lake, but this whole outdoor space, the recreational space, it's why you move here.
It's the main attraction.
It's the headliner. It's the reason that you want to be here. So interestingly enough, Lake Elmo has only a population of like 9,000 people. It's actually very sparsely populated for how much land mass it has. It seems like if you were just cramming people in here like most of the other suburbs, that you could easily be a 50,000, 60,000 person population area, but not the case. It hasn't even reached 10,000 people yet. And I guess that's part of its charm. And to some degree, it might be kind of staying low because of how much of this space is reserved for this recreational outdoor space. But that being said, there are a ton of really, really nice new builds coming in to the Lake Elmo area. And I think we'll continue to see that population ticking upwards. And Lake Elmo is, interestingly also, I feel like there's a little bit of spillover from people who want to live in Stillwater but maybe can't afford it, maybe just haven't found the right house there. They might end up in Lake Elmo.
The geographical boundaries of Lake Elmo are actually pretty straightforward. To the north you have Highway 36, to the east you have Manning Avenue North, to the south you have Highway 94, and to the west it's more or less 694.
Yeah, like we do so many of these videos and we're like, I don't even know how to begin to explain what this boundary is. But Lake Elmo actually has like a pretty sizable land mass, but for the most part, the population is on the outer edges of what is considered Lake Elmo. I would say that is primarily because of this, right? The Lake Elmo, the regional park, and how much land that takes up. So the room left to develop tends to be on the edges. And then also, for the most part, I would say most of the population sort of centers of Lake Elmo are closer to Woodbury on the sort of southern edge, and then Stillwater on the northern eastern edge. And one thing that you get with that is that you get Stillwater schools. And Stillwater schools get an A on niche.com. Stillwater High School itself gets an A- on niche.com. Some of the best schools in the metro area. You can watch my Stillwater video as well.
Lake Elmo itself has, I think, 3 schools, a preschool, elementary, and middle school, but they don't have the high school that's in Stillwater. But that's, you know, one of the benefits of living in Lake Elmo is having that close access to such a great high school.
Totally. And then likewise on sort of the convenience side of things, Lake Elmo isn't full of conveniences, right? It has some. It has like cute little downtown with, you know, a few little stores and like a coffee shop. It obviously has the outdoor activities like the lake and the trails and whatever, but it doesn't have stores as much, right? But it doesn't really matter. Basically, every store on the planet is in Woodbury, just across I-94 from Lake Elmo. So if you want to be able to, say, walk to a store or a coffee shop or whatever, for the most part, Lake Elmo is, you're not going to find that here. But if you're looking for sort of a country living, a small town living, while still being a very short drive to suburban amenities, then Lake Elmo could be just the perfect spot for you.
Right. I think Lake Elmo, being that it's right in between Stillwater and Woodbury, you know, I think the appeal is all the nature areas and the lake itself. And you have the schools to the north in Stillwater, but then you also have the suburbia heaven in Woodbury to the south.
Totally, yeah. Lake Elmo is an interesting combination of new build, you know, complexes, new build areas, whether that's townhomes or single families. Actually, Alex just helped some people buy a brand new townhome in Lake Elmo. That's why we started doing this video. We're like, it's awesome here.
Yeah.
Let's do this video. So that's cool. And really, really nice townhome, brand new, for right around $400,000. You can get in a little cheaper, but that's kind of what you're looking at for a new build. The median single family home price in Lake Elmo is basically exactly $500,000, which is considerably higher than the Twin Cities metro average, which is $330,000. And one interesting thing is you're going to find these new build homes, right? And then you're going to find some of the older homes that are sort of in the old classic downtown area. And then you're going to find palatial yards. You're going to find houses with just giant yards. It's not even really fair to call them a yard. Landowners with houses on it. And because of that, I think some of those homes can really bring up that median price. There are basically, you can find a house as cheap as $300,000 and up closer to $2 million on the market right now. And I think those bigger estates are a pretty big reason for that.
And one last thing we shouldn't forget about is the Valley High Drive-In. It's the only drive-in, I think, in the entire Twin Cities.
Yeah, it's true.
Is in Lake Elmo. So tonight they're playing the new Conjuring movie and Quiet Place Part 2. Might have to go see that one.
Yeah, no, it's sweet. It's really cool. Very easy to get to, and just one of those experiences that you can't really find anywhere else in the city.
Right. It's been around since '66, I think. So if you're even remotely in the St. Paul area, it's definitely a must.
Piece of cake. All right, y'all. Let's take a drive. All right, y'all, right now we are by Firefly Park, which is just a really small little, basically, playground in this entirely new development. It's basically, I don't know, smack dab in the middle of what appears to be a few different developers bought up land and built different houses in this area. There's a lot that really vibe very similar, a little bit cookie cutter, but then there are some that are just like of a different flavor. Seems like maybe different builders. But anyways, we're talking pros and cons right now. First couple pros I'm gonna say is that Lake Elmo is very conveniently located, specifically to St. Paul and also to Stillwater. There's not really jobs in Stillwater or anything, but it is a really beautiful part of the Twin Cities. So proximity to St. Paul and Woodbury gives you proximity to a variety of jobs. And that's, I guess, whether you're talking career jobs or jobs for your kids. There's a lot of retail in Woodbury, and then there's a lot of bigger employers in St. Paul. And then proximity to Stillwater, the real benefit of that is that you have proximity to some of the best schools in the entire Twin Cities Metro, which is Stillwater Public School District.
Yeah, and I think another big thing to take away from the location is that it's so close to St. Paul, but at the same time, it can feel in some parts like you're 30 or 40 minutes out of the city. There's so many different development neighborhoods going up, but at the same time, there's a lot of older pockets of Lake Elmo that still have that kind of small town feel, and homes with a lot bigger yards.
Yeah, there's certain parts of Lake Elmo that are gonna feel almost rural. It's kind of weird. Trust us, it's cool. But you get these new builds like what we're in, and then you might travel 5 minutes away from here and it's like farmland. And then you might travel 5 minutes from there and it's the old school downtown area of Lake Elmo, which is, really cute, really quaint, has some sort of historic homes in the same vein as Stillwater, but being slightly cheaper than Stillwater.
But it doesn't really matter what area you're in, it's gonna be a quiet neighborhood overall.
So quiet. That's definitely one of the biggest pros about Lake Elmo. It is just peaceful here pretty much everywhere. And then the final pro of Lake Elmo, there's probably others for the record, but it's just that it's loaded with natural beauty.
Yeah, we were looking at the maps when we were driving around here, and there are so many different lakes and parks in Lake Elmo, and a lot of them are very centralized. And so if you're living in one of the neighborhoods kind of in central Lake Elmo, you're going to be in a very pretty area, and it's also going to be a very quiet area.
Yeah, and there's lakes, obviously, like for recreational purposes. There are trails. You can cross country ski, you can walk, run,
horseback ride,
bike, you can horseback ride. There's a golf course. Yeah, it has pretty much everything that most people are looking for as far as outdoor recreation in Minnesota. Also, as far as cons go, I'm gonna say the first con of Lake Elmo is that it is spendy. It's kind of known for being somewhat expensive to get into Lake Elmo. The median list price right now is $500,000, almost exactly, which that is considerably higher than the median within the Twin Cities, which is right around $330,000.
Right, and I think probably the main reason for that, again, is just all of the new builds that are going up
big time
in the area.
And then there's also still these like historic homes in the downtown that some of them are just like beautiful. And so those kind of go for a premium as well. The new builds are adding a lot to that, but to get into Lake Elmo into a single family home, currently like the lowest listed price on a home in Lake Elmo is $300K. So realistically, we're talking $350K on the low end to get into Lake Elmo.
I think another con would be that a lot of these new builds are somewhat removed from all the conveniences in the area. And so if you need to go to, I think there is a Target in Lake Elmo.
There is a Target, it's a ways away.
Right, yeah. And if you needed to go to, a different kind of area for whatever convenience, you might end up driving to Stillwater or Woodbury.
For sure. I feel like the majority of errands that you're running are probably gonna be Woodbury.
Yeah.
Which leads me to that just generally a con for some people is that it's a little bit sparse and undeveloped, which to me says it's going to be getting developed in the near future, which maybe that's a pro, maybe that's a con. But one thing for sure is that in some of the older parts of Lake Elmo, there's still some echoes of a more rural version of Lake Elmo, where some of the lawns are gonna, have some junk cars on them, and it's just, they're gonna be a little more cluttered lawns. Maybe certain parts of, Lake Elmo area,
there might be a little lower standard of home ownership.
Yeah, a little less pride of ownership in certain spots, but still overwhelmingly, I think rest assured that the pride of ownership in Lake Elmo is overwhelmingly very high.
Definitely.
You just might have the occasional neighbor who doesn't really care about that stuff.
Also, last but not least, there are a lot of farms out here. Sometimes can smell like manure a little bit.
A little bit.
Not a big deal.
What are you gonna do? just like that, we are at the Valley High Drive-In. Place is dope. It's just basically the only drive-in left at all in the Twin Cities Metro. When did it go into business?
1966.
1966?
I think is what I read.
Okay, we think so.
Don't quote me on it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's been around for forever. It's super cool. Check this out. So this is like where you park, you know, it's just super cool. Bring a date here, bring the family, whatever. Very, very cool spot. Kind of an experience that you can only get here, at least in the Twin Cities. You know, if you've been watching these videos, I've been doing this for fans of section. Basically, if you are into what you're seeing about Lake Elmo, then you might like these other spots. Or if maybe you haven't been to Lake Elmo, but you've been to some of these other spots, then you might have kind of an idea of what it feels like here in Lake Elmo. Just right off the bat, these ones feel obvious, and I do have virtual tours of both of them. Stillwater, right, that's the neighbor just to the east. It has all that natural beauty. Really, really great spot. Check out that virtual tour. And then the next one is Woodbury. Again, the neighbor just to the south, shares a lot of things in common, or I guess more importantly, has a lot of the amenities that you'll actually be using if you live here in Lake Elmo.
I would also add Medina, which is in the West Metro. Very similar in terms of space and kind of new builds. Very sparse. I would also add Ramsey, Anoka, you know, in the northern part of the cities are also very similar to Lake Elmo.
Yeah, they have a lot of that like natural space, old school downtown, you know, but they're probably even a little more densely populated than here. But yeah, that's if you want that small town vibe with some, you know, modern conveniences, that's a good spot to check out.
Last but not least, I would add White Bear.
Totally, yeah, White Bear. White Bear might be the closest one as far as like actual vibe to this place. It's gonna feel pretty similar. Old school downtown, beautiful lake, beautiful outdoor space, generally pretty good schools. Yeah, it's got a lot of stuff going for it. Last but not least, I guess for me, I'm gonna say Lakeville and Rosemont. I do have a Lakeville virtual tour. I do not have a Rosemont virtual tour, but I will soon. That's like, if you want that new build vibe, if you want the new build stuff that you've been seeing, go check out specifically Lakeville, and then stick around for a Rosemont virtual tour. We for sure will do one of those. Thank you very much for watching this. If you are considering a move to the Twin Cities, do whatever you can to get a hold of us. You can go to our website, tothetwincities.com. You can text or call the number on the screen. You can email us at info@tothetwincities.com. You can just stalk
it up in the comments.
Yeah, you can stalk Alex and just, you know, say hi to him on the street. But yeah, thank you again so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel, click the bell to get notified, give the video a thumbs up, say what's up in the comments.
Peace.
Cool, thanks y'all, bye-bye.